Two readings. So there's a modern paraphrase of Psalm 138 and then the Gospel. And Barbara's going to read for us. Thank you, Barbara.
The gods are all around me. I know each one by name. Money, fame, and power. Their promise is the same. But only you deliver. Only you come through. So now, here, while I'm watching, I give my heart to you. I thank you for your faithful love. I celebrate your power that strengthens me when I am weak, hour after hour. I sing with kings who praise your ways, for they have seen your glory. And when the humble stumble, you are there to change their story. The gods are all around me. When enemies pursue me, when trouble stalks my path, your strong right hand protects me. Your steadfast love will last. So make me what you have made me. Dream your dream in me. Demonstrate your purpose, Lord, for all the world to see. The gods are all around me. And the second reading is from Luke, chapter 5, starting at verse 1. Jesus calls the first disciples. One day, Jesus was standing on the shore of Lake Gennesaret, while the people pushed their way up to him to listen to the word of the God. He saw two boats pulled up on the beach. The fishermen had left them and were washing the nets. Jesus got into one of the boats, it belonged to Simon, and asked him to push off a little from the shore. Jesus sat in the boat and taught the crowd. When he had finished speaking, he said to Simon, "Push the boat out further into the deep water, and you and your partners let down your nets for a catch." "Master," Simon answered, "we worked hard all night long and caught nothing. But if you say so, I will let down the nets." They let them down and caught such a large number of fish that the nets were about to break. So they signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them. They came and filled both boats so full of fish that the boats were about to sink. When Simon Peter saw what had happened, he fell on his knees before Jesus and said, "Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man." He and the others were with him were all amazed at the large number of fish they had caught. The same was true of Simon's partners, James and John, the sons of Zebedee. Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on, you will be catching people." They pulled the boats up onto the beach, left everything, and followed Jesus.
Hear what the Spirit is saying to the church. Thank you, Barbara. Lovely. So this is indeed a new microphone installed by David this week. And it's always going to stay in the lectern, and you just adjust it. And here's the breaking news that David told me. He told me that when he went to buy this, the guy in the shop said, "Those are the same microphones they use in Parliament." I know. I said, "Golly, I hope the content's different sometimes." Casting no aspersions, but, each place to its own, right? However, it's a much easier thing to use than the previous setup on the stand. So just adjust it gently for your particular height. Yes. He was a very good workman, was David, because he vacuumed afterwards. That was the complete job, end to end. So here we are, the story of the fishers being told to go into deep water. What does it mean if I say that someone's getting into deep water? What if I say, "Edith, welcome back to church. Gosh, Edith's been getting into deep water." What does that mean? Trouble. It can mean trouble. And it can mean perhaps something that's quite complicated and we can't understand. Well, is getting into deep water ever a good thing? Pat and Colin, what do you think? Are there times when getting into deep water is a good thing? I suppose so, yeah. What would happen if you got into water that was too shallow?
You'd go aground.
You'd run aground, yeah, that's right. So, talking to the sailors. So, Here we are in a water metaphor, and we'll just see how we can tease some ideas out of the gospel reading. Joy Cowley wrote a lovely little poem, an insightful poem, in which the speaker recognises that she spends most of her time on the surface of life, grateful for the taste of God in everyday experience, but seldom does she venture out beyond the shallows. Just repeat those words to you. The speaker in the poem spends most of her time on the surface of life, grateful for the taste of God in everyday experience, but seldom venturing out beyond the shallows. And she then describes the guidance urging her to push the little boat of herself out into the deep water and drop a net into the unknown. And it can be scary where the water is deep. Sometimes in life, what holds us back from risking a new thing is that what we've done before didn't really get us what we wanted. And our brains make superficial comparisons. So in the story, Simon answered, "Master, we worked hard all night long and caught nothing. But if you say so, I will let down the nets." And Barbara, you read it beautifully, that, we've worked all night long and we caught nothing. I could hear that in your voice. And maybe you've had doubts sometimes about a course of action because something in the past didn't get the result you thought it should. Well, did you truly know what you were looking for? Have we thought deeply, hard and long about what it is we really want in life? I once chatted to a delightful old Scot who worked well beyond the age of 65, and he was overseeing the running of a large education campus. He said to me, "I knew it was time to retire when I heard myself telling one of the young ones, 'We tried that before and it didn't work.'" It was something to do with rubbish disposal. The old chap was curbing the creative thinking of the new team around him. And I don't think it's an age thing, by the way. We often limit the present by something in the past we mistakenly think is relevant. Well, that was then, and this is now. And so now, the technology is different. The hours and patterns and nature of work have changed. There are new people involved in the circumstances. The community has transformed. We're all experts in surviving pandemics. We weren't that 3 years ago. We didn't learn how to survive a pandemic when we were at school, did we? We have some expertise today we didn't back then. And we've got more expertise now than we've ever had. Maybe we've got more time. Our understanding has evolved. So you see, the circumstances differ. And yet we sometimes stand on the sidelines of life, washing our nets, washing them, rather than using them. Edward de Bono said, "You cannot dig a hole in a different place by digging the same hole deeper." Gardeners know that. And Simon learns that to catch fish, you must relocate yourself to where the fish are. Now, of course, you understand that Luke's Gospel is not an episode of the fishing show. Fish are not the point. It's all about our attitude in life and whether we can see that living abundantly, the biggest catch you can imagine, requires us to venture into deeper and unnerving waters, into the unknown, as Joy Cowley terms it. The role of Jesus in the story is not to catch the fish himself or to magic up bountiful supplies so that the fishers can't possibly go wrong, just call it an early day. His job is to urge Simon and his colleagues to risk the success that can be theirs if they change their thinking and go about their work differently. Even experts can learn or unlearn to their advantage. And so, friends, Jesus cannot catch our fish either. What's the goal you dream of achieving or having a go at but you can't? Because your nets are empty. And well, you tried, but you failed in 1987, so you can't possibly do it in 2022. And you know I'm saying you, but I'm preaching to myself. Over the last 2 years, I could hear myself saying, if I had my time again, I would go into ministry training. Well, last year, the best community engagement job appeared for me. And so I was able to drop the might have beens and if only, and embrace a great new job. Luke does not tell us what Jesus said when he taught the crowd, nor what was so compelling about him that Simon and his mates intuitively did as Jesus instructed. All that matters in the story is that they're up for it, and they respond to Jesus' guidance with conviction, action, and promptness. They reframe their view of life from the idea that they worked all night and caught nothing to the dynamic of this, and you heard the line. They pulled the boats up on the beach, left everything and followed Jesus. 3 verbs, men of action, not slaves to the routine at all. They did something different. What they really want in the story is something else, and they go off with Jesus to achieve it. It's not Jesus who is their fulfillment, but following him honours their essential truth. That's how they're getting to truth. And so what is our truth? Remember the words from the psalm in this paraphrase. The gods are all around me. I know each one by name. Money, fame, and power, their promise is the same. But only you deliver, only you come through. So now here, while they're watching, I give my heart to you. There's a different way. Joy Cowley describes the net of prayer sinking gradually into a depth so beyond words, so filled with light and peace, that I don't want to return to the shore. That's what her speaker says. I don't want to return to the shore. And then the poem ends with these words. Except that I know that the shallows and the deep belong to the same great sea of life, and I need them both for spiritual health. The deep and the shallows. Can't stay out in the deep for all time, can you, Pat? You wouldn't be here to play. So, as I get ready to close, I'll just briefly apply this lesson to 2 situations that involve us all. Over the last few years, our nation has pushed into turbulent waters as we've started to learn of the Treaty of Waitangi as the promise of good faith partnership, too long overlooked or interpreted as a document of conquest. And it hurts in the deep. It hurts to be buffeted by waves of deep waters that are washing away protective barriers that gentler, shallow waters don't erode. The waters of unlearning and relearning are very deep indeed. And close to home, our church is a new venture with this vision. We aspire to be an active and innovative Christian community that provides leadership and builds partnerships in our fast-changing world. And so we've paddled around some safe waters so far. What will deeper look like for us? There's a whakatauki, a proverb that applies, I think. Ka pute ruha ka hao tarangatahi. As an old net withers, a new one is made. Now, it's a proverb about succession from one generation to another collaboratively. Nobody is off the hook. Nobody is off the fish hook, because our church is young, and right now the new net is ours. The succession is from the former parishes to what you have created. And there's respect. There's respect for what has been, and there must be respect for what we are about to create. Jesus said to Simon, "Don't be afraid. From now on you will be catching people." And so I ask again of us, what does deeper look like? Perhaps it's catching the attention, understanding, and hearts of the communities in which we are placed, the communities whose noise is coming through the windows this morning. And so, friends, with Jesus as our guide, may we be up for it. May we be up for travelling into deeper waters. Amen.